while moving, I found an old disposable camera. It was stashed away in the drawer of an old dresser that I hadn't opened in years. Ha, I remember these things. I passed the camera to my wife. She flipped it over in her hands in awe. Wow, a disposable camera. How old do you think it is? Probably from the late 90s, when we moved here. I clicked back the dial, but the big fat 0 came up. No photos left on it. Do you think there's any place that will still develop it? A quick Google search revealed that Walgreens and other pharmacies still develop disposable cameras. So that afternoon, we got in the car and dropped off the camera. A few hours later, I picked up the big fat envelope of photos. We sat down at the kitchen table, heart thrumming with excitement. I flipped it open. The very first photo was of my wife Diane. I smiled when I saw her pretty young face, but as I pulled the photo out of the envelope, my smile widened to a grin. It was a photo of her pregnant, cradling a big belly in a floral dress, smiling down at it. This must have been when you were pregnant with Michael. I handed her the photo. Oh, how cute, she grinned. Man, they grow up fast, don't they? Michael had just graduated college. He was living with us for the past few months, as he worked at an unpaid internship with the mayor. I looked at the photo of Diane, her face grainy and blurred, compared to the ultra-crisp photos of today's smartphones, and felt a twang of sadness. I missed those days. Young, in love, our whole life was ahead of us. When Michael was a little boy who needed us, instead of a young adult who locked himself in his room all day. I flipped to the next photo. My heart plummeted. It was a photo of us in the hospital. Diane was lying on the bed, and I was next to her, gripping her hand. For a second, I thought it must have been a photo from Michael's birth, but the expressions on our face clearly told me otherwise. Her face was twisted in grief, her eyes rimmed with red from hours of crying. My face was still, as if carved into stone, trying to be stoic, be strong for my wife, but failing. And in her arms, under a bundle of clothes, a little baby, but it was far too small. The blood drained out of my face. How was this photo taken? I remembered the day we brought Michael home, a full-term, large baby at 8 pounds, 6 ounces, 19 inches long. But Diane and I never had another pregnancy. He was our only child. Whose baby is this? And then the other horrible realization. It's way too small to have lived. Diana's eyes fell on the photo. She let out a muffled squeak, and then took it from me, hands trembling. Oh my God. I flipped to the next photo. A photo of Diane and I. My arm was around her shoulder, and we were smiling, but there was sadness behind our eyes. Pain. Diane was no longer pregnant, and she looked skinny, too skinny, drawn. My hands trembled as I flipped through the photos faster. There were several of us like that, at social events or at the park. The pain behind our eyes, skin and bones. I slid the next photo away, and my heart stopped. A photo of Diane in the hospital, holding a baby. A beautiful, fat, full-term baby, wrapped in a swaddling blanket. She was grinning, the pain gone from her eyes. I had my arms around her, beaming like a proud father. But there was a problem. The newborn had no umbilical cord, no stump, no remnant, just a perfect belly button. Diane's eyes met mine. Something passed between us, a horrible realization. She reached out and gripped my hand, squeezing it as tight as she could, until red marks bloomed across my fingers. Thump, thump, thump. Footsteps thudded down the stairs, and then Michael swung into the kitchen. His smile quickly faded as he saw the photos in our hands, replaced by an expression of anger, a fury of hatred. "You shouldn't have seen those," he said.